Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. The blackest hearted, blackest minded, blackest man on social media, sign a black in and shining again, asking you to hit that share button because the message is more important than the messenger. On Facebook, I came across a link to a video by a YouTuber called ManWithGame. First thing I noticed was that he is TeenWithGame on platforms for which you pay, like Patreon and Cash App. And then on platforms that are free, he's ManWithGame. Now, I understand teens grow into men, but when you don't go back and update, and then you start to take on people's philosophies and ways that work and they're older than you, then this becomes problematic. But in a video to which I saw the link, he was going in on Kevin Samuels and his followers, calling them effeminate, soft. He goes in on all these men as if they have somehow betrayed nature and God, but the first thing he missed is that Kevin Samuels never identified himself as a leader, and he doesn't claim to have followers, nor do people claim him as their leader and claim to follow him the way I would claim to follow Muhammad ibn Abdullah, peace be to him. ManWithGame went on to say that if he was stinking, fresh out the gym, functified, he would still have more confidence around women than these men around Kevin Samuels. He said that these men have no personality and this makes them so unattractive to black women. And they use suits to compensate and corporate success to compensate. He then went on to do an impersonation of them in his mind. The impersonation being done, but impersonating his mental image of them, equating men who were unchosen in their youth to the worst stereotypes of the most socially awkward and timid characters you can see on a TV or a movie screen, pretty much equating them to an Urkel. Then after his voice impersonations, he bust out laughing at himself and went on to tell us that if his dreadlocks were dirty as hell, we still can't say he has no masculinity. Now, to be fair, ManWithGame does not have suspect moves or mannerisms himself, and this is fine. We don't need those. And he does point out that black men who are promoted have to be idiots or suspect in their masculinity. He's not lying about there being an attack on black masculinity. My bilingual Arab students who've never been to the West can see this on their TV screens, and stuff that comes here is censored. The issue with ManWithGame is his blind acceptance of teenage ideas and understandings of how men and women get together. He still accepted that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the way that young teenage girls and their slightly older counterparts in their 20s pick men. There's nothing wrong with that. They have no hybristophilia in this. The Western women picking men with hybristophilic tendencies are completely normal. They're just following biology and nature. That's how he views it. Now, I don't know much about the men who he thinks follow Kevin Samuels, so I'm not attacking or defending them because they don't even all know each other. And this is only those who might even claim to follow him to begin with. They must be different from each other. But he says that men who wear suits and are proud of being part of corporate America are somehow failures according to the black communities from which we come. He missed the distinction between black and nigger. You see, any community that considers you a failure because of your ability to work in corporate America is a nigger community, unless they're a revolutionary black community that has another option for you to earn your livelihood. Now, I accept that the acceptance of white standards is a betrayal of our people, but ManWithGame is not about us taking over white institutions by force, so that means he addressed no other alternative except financial failure in life in the name of blackness, which is really only appeasing nigger standards. Listen, ManWithGame. No, seriously, that's your name on every paid platform, but ManWithGame is your name on the free platforms, so I tend to get confused. But you must remember that, one, you're young and that's not your fault, but there are still things you will learn later that haven't become obvious now. Keep them in mind. Secondly, you can't assume that black community standards for anything are right or wrong. Some are simply different community standards, but others are low-life, low-level nigger standards. And if you don't like corporate environments, and I myself don't particularly like them, that's fine, but then Kevin already said that this is not for you, so there's nothing to attack. Now, I got my own disagreements with some things about Kevin, but these are minor. His telling women that the few men they all want will also have standards of their own for the women to meet is not goofy or wrong. He's talking about men who did what you said men should do already. Gruesome nuts, built whatever you want to call their empire, and got on their purposes. Men are naturally interested in women, so the natural concern of these men who have done these things, that they can't find women suitable for that level, is not a wrong concern. But see, we men our ages, at various levels of success and failure, are adapting to an unnatural situation for which the elders back when we were young did not prepare us, but rather told us was natural and the best there was. Man, take what you can get, don't ever turn down none. Now you have the situation you've got, which is not fair to you either, man with game. Because what is this game? If they don't have to have game, then why the hell do you? You understand? Especially if they're the ones in power, like you said. If they got the financial power, then why do we not demand game from them so that we can share in? Never mind. Most of us don't hate women, but we do hate the deception to which they subjected us. It started in our own families with female relatives that did not tell us all we need to know about what you call game because they would have been telling on themselves, but then turn around and told each other so that they could from a young age grow up with all the game they needed, starting with enough game to make us think we needed game, which they already had. If you have game that allows you to be with women whose feet successful men could not even sniff, then did you learn it from the women in your family, or did you have to learn it from women outside and from other men? You understand? If you did not learn from women in your family while you were young, they betrayed you. They deceived you. Because best believe they told each other how to game you so they could be hoes while they were young and then find exactly the same men about whom Kevin Samuels is talking, because the women are asking him about these men and he's answering their questions, to retire them from a life after the hoe phase. After they not only rode the cock carousel with a few guys who weren't nearly as responsible, but also collectively boycotted the responsible men while young, just so that these men, most of us normal men, would not be experienced enough with women to know that we were the whole phase retirement plan. You come along and say that our awareness of this is a problem. What I just told you that these ladies are doing sounds like an unrealistic paranoid conspiracy theory. I know. Still, you can ask a YouTuber named Man of Tomorrow how he knows that not only were the women doing this, but planning it and doing so intentionally, not based on female nature or biology. Mr. Game, you think you were preaching masculinity. All you really did was validate every shallow and nebulous standard women claim to have in the West, by which they eliminate normal men as weak and inferior, not even normal. Then you turned and dissed every standard a man has in exchange for women to meet. You're damn right we're glad he's talking down to delusional and entitled women. We're not wrong for that. You're wrong for not being glad about it. As you grow older, keep your eyes open and you'll see this. I did not record this with any hatred for you, rather for your benefit and the benefit of those who might think you're on to something. But keep this in mind. Recording with no more than the art of war and the 48 laws of power being clearly displayed for the camera behind you does not show that you're somehow a deep thinker. One book was written for war, which could apply, and the other book was written for business. And frankly, the 48 laws of power don't include laws that none of which are mutually exclusive. Some of these laws are mutually exclusive to each other because they are based, well, I'll let you tell me why some of them are mutually exclusive to each other. I'll let you tell me why, if you're really on to something and if you're really that deep. But you ain't fooling people that have been through it. I don't even think you're trying to. I think you've been fooled. Start holding women to these same standards that you had to meet, standards of game, things you need to know. Check out how little they know, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. I hope this helps. Thank you all in the audience for listening to Black Heart, Black Mind, Blackout, Assalamu Alaikum, and Black heterosexual non-select male power, just because they don't like it, including him, and Black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day.